Okechukwu. I represent an area of Gojiriba Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I want to thank our colleague who brought this motion, Benjamin and Zondu, with regard to the menace of malaria against our citizens. Mr. Speaker, I will ordinarily agree with him that the treatment of malaria is not that expensive. It's not that expensive if we take the proper measures we should. But like every challenge that is faced in this country, sometimes we begin to attack the straw man. It is understandable that from the statistics he has rolled out, the loss of man-hours, the economic implications of having to buy drugs and people having to lose their man-hours from going to work is too consequential for our country. And ever since my childhood, malaria has always been a menace. But we are also...
How old are you?
Mr. Speaker, I'm very old now. But he says in one of his arguments that we are worried that malaria is transmitted throughout Nigeria with 76% of the population living in high malaria transmission areas. This malaria is not genetical. It's not genetical. Why should we live in an environment that exposes us to the issue of malaria? You must be bitten by a mosquito. I know there's various conspiracies, including the one that is being propounded by Mr. Honorable Abonta, that it is a conspiracy where even the drugs we take now even causes malaria. But Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I know that clean environment does not cause it. I know that if you don't expose yourself to an environment where these malaria-borne environments are, you don't. But when you have a dirty gutter, when you have a pit toilet, when you have a bush around your place that is not fumigated or disinfected, of course you are manufacturing malaria. You are making sure it is available in your environment. There is no most Nigerians who go for treatment in the hospital or who have any form of fever or anything, the first thing is that you have malaria. But you look at your environment, it is laden with death. So, Mr. Speaker, I think as much as we are investing time in free treatment of malaria, I think sufficient effort should also be made in preventing it. Our focus should be in deterring the incidence of malaria. And that is why I said that if we do the right things, we should be treating prevention, not treating people buying drugs. And that is why I'm in agreement with our colleague for this very, very important motion. Because the easiest way to make sure that treatment of malaria is very cheap is do what has been done in other jurisdictions. Whether it's DDT, the second atomic bomb, like our colleague said, or if we have to manufacture the third one, it is very important, Mr. Speaker, that the issue of malaria that has become a terrible menace on our citizens is dealt with. And for a start, I would suggest that the various cadres of personnel should invest sufficient time. Health personnel should invest sufficient time in telling our people on how to prevent these ailments.
Chairman EFCC.
Clean environment is one. Make sure you don't stay in water-logged areas. Pit toilets that that become habitation for mosquitoes should also be. So generally, in summary, a clean environment is of very, very significant consequence to the prevention of malaria. So I do not think that there is anything we invest in treatment of malaria that is so expensive. If it is a policy already of government, it means a proper assessment has been made. It means there are an agreement with it that it should be done free. If it is a policy as he has stated. So, but I believe that we could be more creative. Our policy should now be geared towards prevention. So I wholeheartedly support this motion and it should be carried. Thank you very much.